Okay, welcome to the webinar, Bitrix24 HR Toolkit. So who are we? I am Damien Edwards, Business Development Manager of Interface, and with me I have Andy Naylor, our Projects Manager.
Hi guys, if you've got any questions throughout the webinar, please put them in the box provided, and we'll have a Q&A session towards the end.
Okay, we're partners of Bitrix24. We're located in Sheffield in the UK and New York, and we manage all pre-sales support, so we can provide a demo, answer any questions you've got to help you choose the right solution. We have a full implementation service, including customization and training. If you choose the self-hosted solution, we can provide a hosting platform for you, and we provide a premium ongoing support service. So what is Bitrix24? A suite of in excess of 35 tools for managing your business. Now more than 1 million businesses use Bitrix24, available in the cloud and self-hosted, and as we go through we'll talk about some of the differences there. Pricing in the cloud for the standard package at $99 per month, and self-hosted is priced slightly differently. So essentially a one-off fee starting from just under $5,000. So why HR in Bitrix24? Well, Bitrix24 includes a number of tools to help you find co-workers, manage their time, and store personal documents and tasks to individuals. Also includes a range of self-service forms. Some standard ones include absence request, forms for submitting expenses, and general and purchase requests. We're going to show you one of these forms today. We're also going to show you a custom process, and we're going to look at an onboarding process for new starters. Okay, so let's have a look firstly at some of the standard tools that are available. We'll look at user's profile, how you can find out more about co-workers, how you can locate them through search or through the company structure. We'll look at how users can manage time, log in at the beginning of the day and log out at the end of the day, and manage time on different tasks. And then show you how users can store personal items or HR items in their drives. And we're going to look at some forms and processes. Okay, so first way to find co-workers will be to use the search tool up here. So as I start to type, this will give me straight away some suggestions. So it's already found some employees up here, and I can select from the suggestions up here, and we can review or we can view an employee's profile. So this is quite a simple one. We're going to have a look at, and he's going to show you how you can customize the look of this page. Second way to find employees will be to search through the company structure. And we can see we've got a fairly simple structure here. We can drill down into any of these users, or we can drill down into any of these departments, indeed, and we can click through on this page to a user's profile page. Okay, so as I said, this is a fairly simple view. Andy's going to show you how we can add a custom field to this page. I think we can add something like education background.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so first of all, I just need to go to my own profile. And just quite an important thing to note here, we are in the self-hosted version of Bitrix. So if you're not used to seeing this top bar here, the control panel bar, this is available in the self-hosted, and if you're in the cloud, you wouldn't see this. So first of all, what we want to do, as Damien mentioned, we want to add a custom field to the user profile. So if we just click into the control panel, and then if we just try and find the custom field section, and then we're going to add a new field. So if we add just need to make sure it's actually going to be a text field, and the entity is a user, which means on the self-hosted it means that this field will be associated with the user profile. And then we just need to call it here. Okay, so if we save that field, and then we go back into the front end of the site, and what we need to do now is we just need to get that field visible within the actual profile. As well as that, we also need to make sure it's on the edit profile section. So to do that, we just need to switch to edit mode, and then we need to look into the actual component of the user profile. So in this case, it is the social network _user. So we just need to go to extended properties. So this is the area where we can add the fields to the particular area. So we just need to make sure that the educational background is selected on here to make sure it's included. I just held down Control there just to make sure that it's a multi-select field, so we can add more fields there if we like, and then we just need to scroll down to get to make sure it's in the editable area. So if we scroll down and find the educational background again, and there it is. Okay, so if we click on save, that actually won't show up there at the moment because there's nothing actually in there. So we just need to go into, if you just click off the edit mode, go back to edit mode, and then click on edit profile. And then there we go. So you can see, so if you just type in there and click on save, you can see now that that's added it to the user profile. I think another thing to note is with the self-hosted version, you can actually customize the actual look of this. So instead of having it in a list, you may want it in blocks and things like that. So you can actually customize the template.
Okay, so you can have it things like tabs and tabs within the same.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you can have it exactly how you would want it.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Okay, let's have a look at how users can clock in and clock out. So top here, if we open up this little widget, we can see that I'm actually already clocked in, so I'm already recording time in my working day. If in the morning, if I haven't clocked in, I get a reminder on this. This will flash to remind me to clock in, and I can have a break or clock out anytime during the day. So this is a useful tool if you've got people, particularly if you've got people who work from home or remotely, and you want to record the amount of time that they're spending on their working day. Can actually be disabled as well. So it's a request we get a lot. How do they disable this reminder to clock in? If we go into time tracker under the employees section, then as an administrator, I can click on the settings button over here, and then either by department or by individual, I can toggle this feature on or off. I can also set the latest clock in time, earliest clock out time, and then things like the minimum duration that you're expecting somebody to work during a day. So
yeah, I think it's important to note we're working on a project at the moment where we can actually export this data. So we can come up with a custom component to this module on the self-hosted package where you can actually import data from an external source. In that case, it's a CSV, and then you can also export it. So we can export this data that you may want to put it into your third-party time management tool or something like that?
I think we found that a lot of businesses already have a clocking in system that's integrated into their other systems, maybe account systems quite tightly. So if that's the case, you can, yeah, as Andy says, a partner can help you integrate the Bitrix work time tools with an existing clocking system. Okay, let's have a look at Drive. So within my Drive area, I have access to all the shared folders that are available to me, and in this example, we've also got access to an HR folder. So this is an area that we can store personal company documents such as your resume and employment contracts, and we're going to look at a process that will automate some of the keeping these documents up to date.
Yeah, so those of you that are not aware of what the actual MyDrive is, so each user has a MyDrive section, and what that entails is it's all the drives that you're associated with in terms of if you're a member of a work group and you've decided to connect that to your MyDrive, then it will reside in there. So you can always go there and find your own documents that you're involved with.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so that's some of the standard tools available within Bitrix. Let's have a look at a couple of examples of HR processes. We're going to look at firstly a standard one, a very common process for managing absence or requesting leave, and then how supervisors can manage that. And then secondly, we'll have a look at a custom process. And in this example, we're looking at how you can run a process to trigger various activities to onboard new personnel. Okay, we'll go back into the activity stream. Within the activity stream under processes, we have a leave approval. So this is a standard, as I mentioned, this is a standard process. It's available on the cloud and on self-hosted solutions. It comes shipped with the product and it's ready to go. It presents the user with quite a simple form. But I can select my dates that I require to have leave, type of leave that I want, and if need be, I can submit. I can submit a comment as well. So we can see straight away a notification in my stream. This is the user that created it. It's now with a supervisor here, and we can see the status of it in progress. And we're not going to show you from the other side, but as soon as my supervisor approves this leave, then I receive a notification back, and in this self-hosted version, that leave request would actually be added to my profile page. Okay, Andy, can we have a quick look at the business process?
Yeah, certainly can. Yeah, I think it's also important to note on here we have actually developed a custom leave module. I don't know if we could just pop into here and just see the request leave form. So this just is a little bit of a more comprehensive form where it can actually allow you to have book half days or full days, and what that will allow you to do is you can have, say for example, if you've got a set amount of holiday days, so usually you have an annual entitlement, and once that is booked off, then it will reduce your entitlement from there. And I think when we were in the user profile, you can actually see here that we've got a remaining holiday entitlement of 13 and a half days.
Okay, so to be clear, that's an extension that we've developed. So it's not a standard feature. It's an enhancement of the standard HR.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Okay, so if I just go back to the original process, so if we click into processes and then settings, and then I was going to show you the business process behind this. So first of all, we can see that it says showing activity stream with that ticked. So that means it will always appear in the processes tab at the top of the activity stream. So if we click into leave approval, first of all, we'll just go into settings. And it may be that you don't want the process to be available to everybody within the company. This is where we can actually restrict access to different user groups. So this is the same for all business processes that run through an activity stream. You can actually set them to be.
I think for leave approval, then usually most people have access to this. I think for the process we're going to show you next, the onboarding process, it would be restricted just to managers.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes, and we'll touch upon that when we come up to that. Okay, and then we'll just click into the fields. So this is what the actual fields are here that Damien showed you when he was filling the form out. Again, we'll probably touch in a little bit more detail when we go on the onboarding process. But you can see here that we have the typical start date, end date, and then just date fields and text fields here. So if we go back to the business process that actually is triggered when this leave request is submitted. So in this case, what it does, once the submit button is pressed, it will flow through this business process. So one of the important blocks here is the select supervisor. So this business process runs on the company structure. So if in each department has a supervisor, then and a member of that department requests leave, then it will get sent to the supervisor for approval.
Okay, so that's useful in that you don't need to update the business process. So provided the company structure is up to date, then this process will always notify the correct person, either supervisor of that department, even if that person's actually changed roles.
That's correct, yes. So yeah, you don't have to come back into this business process and manually add a user. So if somebody does leave the company, then it's just a case of who replaces that supervisor, then they will be replaced on the business process. So as I mentioned, it does have an approval process here. So you can see once it's been submitted, then it gets an approval here. So if the leave gets approved, then the process carries on. It will get marked as approved, and then we've got a condition here that actually checks if it's been marked as approved or not. So in this case, if the member of the team has approved it, then it will flow down the yes branch, and you can see here it will send a notification to the employee that their leave has been approved. And in the example that we showed you, there was a number of different types of leave that you could pick. In our case, we chose the annual leave. So what that means is it will check to see if the type of leave is annual leave, and then it will get added to the absence chart as that type of leave.
Okay, because you can book things like leave that's not necessarily holiday leave, but you can book like trips and things like that.
So you might
process. It might not be actually deducted from their holiday entitlement.
Yeah, so you might in this case you might want to book a business trip. Say for example, if you've got a meeting, you may want to use this process to do that as well, because then it will book it in the absence chart, and then you've got quite an overview of the company of who was in the office at that time.
Okay. Okay, thanks. So let's go back into the activity stream and let's have a look at another process. As we mentioned, we have a custom process in this case. So this is a new starter process. Okay, so it presents me with a form. As I mentioned, this sort of process might have some different access permissions on there. It might be something that's just available to managers. And it's going to ask me to fill out a series of items on this form, and then it's going to run, when we trigger this, it's going to run a business process that goes off and does a series of different tasks really to automate some of the things we need to do to get this person set up within the business. So I'll show you the form, I'll show you what it does, and then Andy will show you the business process afterwards. So if we select our user here, give them a job title and select a start date for them. We've got a selection list here for role, and when we look at the business process, we'll see that depending on what I've selected here, we'll define some of the activities that happen. We've got a buddy here, so we're gonna hook this user up with a buddy, or we're going to request that this user, this guy here, becomes this new employee's buddy, and to settle them in. Leave entitlement here set as at a default value. We'll leave that the same. We can attach their CV. Let's attach their employment contract as well, and submit. Okay, we can see that the form's being submitted and closed out. Looking at notifications. Okay, first thing we can see is a resume has been added to the human resources group. Let's click into here, and okay, so this is a work group called human resources. Within the group we have a drive, and within the drive we have a CV folder. Okay, so we can see the CV that we added in here has been added to the drive.
I think this is quite a good example of how a work group could be used, because in this case the human resources could contain all your employees' personal data, like resumes, like maybe employee letters and things like that, and a work group can be actually locked down to just the HR department, so the HR department will only be members of this this work group. And then, like I say, with the sensitivity of this documents, then it will be quite useful to have it this way.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And you can see on the general tab in here, we can see obviously who the members of the group are, and it's going to just be the HR team in this case. Okay, let's have a look into this user's profile page. Click on their name. Okay, so there are a couple of other things that we did in the form. We gave them a job title, and that's updated the job title field within their profile, and we defined the number of holidays, and that's updated their holidays entitlement in their profile, and then also we've got a start date which came from the form there. So this form has done a number of different things. Reason why we would use a form would be that it adds structures to the way that you run these processes, and it saves a considerable amount of time as well. So go back to the activity stream. Okay, third thing we did, we requested that we assigned a buddy for this particular user, and let's just switch screens, and we'll go in as this user here, Mark Black. So he was the person that I selected in the form to be the buddy, and we can see that Mark's received a notification. It's in his activity stream. It also sits, so it appears as an item in your activity stream, but it also sits in these type of assignments also sit in your workflows page under pending. So we can see here, hi Mark, you have a new buddy, swing by the office later today, and I've got the option here now as this user to either to start this, and if I click on this I can either accept, refuse or delegate, and we're going to accept it in this case. So if we go back in as the main user, we can see down here that I've go back into my notifications. We can see up here that I've had a notification from Mark to say that he's accepted this particular assignment. And finally, after Mark accepted his assignment, there is a final assignment for me. It appears in my activity stream to book an induction for this particular user. And again, I can go in and start this, or I can leave that in my pending items and start that when I'm ready to start that. So we created a custom form that had a series of fields that required me to input. From those fields, we were able to do a few different simple tasks. We were able to add some of the documents into the right drive areas. We're able to update this user's profile with things like what their holiday entitlement was, the particular start date of this employee is then being saved in their profile page. We sent a request to another employee to buddy up with this particular employee, and then we booked. Finally, we sent a notification to remind the relevant person to book an induction for this new employee as well. So Andy will show you now the business process that's happening, and we'll see how easy it is to really build these processes and keep these processes up to date.
Yeah, so if we go back into the workflow section, you can see here our custom workflow. And again, if I just go into the actual settings of this workflow, as David mentioned, this is probably more than likely going to be have access to different users on the system. So you may only want your team leaders to be access this, or a particular management department to access this, or indeed the HR department. So this would be a good example of how we can select these different departments here. So in case if you wanted only the HR department, then we could actually select that department here to grant full access, and then maybe deny everyone else access to this. So in terms of the work fields, there's quite a few more work fields in new fields in here. So we've got the employee one. So the link to employee basically means that you can have access to every user that is on the system. So in this case, it's a really good tool because you would have to add the new user to the system first of all, and you may even want a process for that. But then once they are a full user on the system, then you can use the link to employee type field. And then moving down, you can see we've got the file fields here. This is where we would be able to add the CV and things like that. And you can actually have that as a multiple field as well. So if you've got multiple documents, then you may want to upload the fields into there. Okay, so if I just go back into the workflow, and then we'll go for the business process that runs behind this. So you can see here that the first action block here is upload CV to Drive. This puts the document into the HR drive of the work group that we looked at earlier. And then second of all, we've got an email. So it may be, we'll just click into here. You can actually send normal type of emails or HTML, and that is the same for every business process that you use an email for. So you may have an email template that you want to put in here to follow your company's branding and things like that. And then in terms of these documents here, so this is actually pulling in the form details that were filled in through the process on the activity stream. So to do that, you would just simply click in here, and then you can see here that you can bring the buddy's name in, for example.
So if you just go back to that previous field, so that's not very helpful. It says document property 262 printable, but actually you don't need to remember that. You can select it using the little button on the right, and in that field was, like you said, it's the buddy. Is it
yes,
or is it the employee? I think
it's employee
one. Employee
yeah.
that we selected, wasn't it? The new starter that we selected.
So in that case, yeah, you wouldn't need to know the actual variable name behind it. It is just a document field name. You can see employee name there. Okay. So then we've got a condition. As Damien went through the form, there was a job role. And in our case, there's only 2 roles. It may be that you've got quite a lot of different roles. So in that case, you would just add a new branch here and add them on. But in our case, we added a manager role here, and that sent a notification, a welcome notification to the user.
Okay, so having a condition here is useful because even though it looks the same on each side, the content of some of these notifications and things in this example could be different.
Yeah, certainly, yeah. And it may be even that you want to add maybe a document, and you could add maybe a management document or an administration document in here. So you can add, that's the great thing with the conditions in a business process. And to add new things, if you've never used business process before, maybe that you wanted to add maybe an activity stream post, And it is just a simple case of it's just a drag and drop tool that is fairly easy to use. So here we've got, this is where the buddy request actually gets sent to the employee when Damien switch screens to mark black. This is this is the process for that. And then again, notifications get sent to the requester, that the notification of the buddy acceptance. And then finally, moving down, the last process that we had was to book an induction assignment, and then that would always appear in the pending requests. So it may be that you don't want to do it straight away. You could actually leave that in your request until you want to actually perform that assignment. And then we've got a wait for 14 days after the induction, and then we've got a book a review meeting as well.
Okay, so this last one we didn't see because we've got this pause item here, which means that this final assignment won't be created until after that period of time. Okay, thanks. So we looked at some of the standard tools within Bitrix, and then we looked at a couple of different processes, a built-in one, a standard one, and a custom one. Oops. So in summary, Bitrix includes a profile page that users can search out, find, and you can search users by names, or you can search users by some of the other fields that they populated within the profile page. You can discover other users or employees through the company structure too. We looked at time management, so users are able to log time. They can actually log their working day, but they can also log time on particular tasks as well. Each user has a personal drive and an area where they can store personal HR documents. And there are a number of processes built in, so common ones are absence requests and expenses submission, purchase requests, those sort of things, but you can build custom processes. So coming soon, we have a webinar same time every week. If you go to our website, intraface.com/webinars, you can book on those. Coming up, better business processes, so just looking at automated processes, and we go through a few different examples. Project management, we do a focus on CRM, and then we've also got a webinar that focuses just on the self-hosted and the advantages that are available within the self-hosted solution. Okay, that's it. Thanks for your time. If you've got any questions, we've got a fair bit of time, so we'll answer those. We'll answer those now. Okay, are notifications available through the app? Yes, indeed. So I think all those kind of assignments that we looked at where users are required to take an action, say approve an absence, or we looked at an assignment where the guy was asked to be a buddy, then those sort of notifications would appear on the app and can be accepted or rejected on the app.
And touching upon the app as well, you can actually clock in, can't you, on the app? So if you were working externally, you can actually do that as well.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, of course. Our business processes available on cloud and self-hosted, as well as self-hosted. Yeah. So to be clear, I think most of the tools that we've shown you today, including all the business processes, the forms, and the workflow tool that Andy was demonstrating, they're available on both the cloud and self-hosted. Self-hosted has some additional benefits in terms of, I think there's a couple of extra action blocks. I think the main one is that you can write custom PHP code in a business process with the self-hosted. But I think really for HR, most of those tools are available. I think one of the things we touched on was custom fields in the profile page. I think that might be restricted just to the self-hosted. But I think
yeah, I think the main one of the main benefits with the self-hosted is the ability to customize. So the customize the look and feel of things, and you can add custom fields in different places. That's the sort of the difference between one of the main differences between self-hosted and the cloud.
Okay, can Bitrix24 integrate employees with 2 different email addresses from 2 different business units? I'm not too sure about not sure I understand the question fully, but you can certainly have an employee can certainly be in two different departments. So if you were to set up a company structure, you can add them to more than one department. I don't understand the references from two different email addresses. I think if you want them to get notifications, they can't really have two different email addresses. They'd have one email address per user, in terms of how they receive or where notifications are sent to. If you've got one person that works for two different sort of divisions within the business and they have different email addresses, then I think they need to be set up probably as two users. I mean, certainly on the self-hosted, you'd be able to run a process that could trigger an email to two separate addresses if it was absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I think what you could do, you could add a custom field for a user with another email address, and then maybe, depending on what you want them to do with that, is you maybe want to incorporate a business process that pulls in that custom field. So that's possible on the self-hosted version.
Okay, I don't think we've got any more questions. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.